Hi, this is Billie here with another segment of U.S. News by Billie, episode 14. Today's date, May 7, 2023. New. This is my third YouTube channel. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share on YouTube and Rumble. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. So some of my sources today are God in the Bible, Patriot subscribers, Pastor Paul Bigley and Mike from around the world, BPEarthwatch, Ryan Hall, y'all, Suspicious Observers, some websites, ABC News, U of H Public Media for Houston News, Associated Press, and it's entitled Planet X, or Something Happening in Space Impacting Texas Weather, Texas fires, Canada fires. So let's get to it and find out what's happening. This is just a short update, basically for the weather today in Texas and across the U.S. So, with a CME coming in from the sun. So Ryan Hall, y'all, I'll link that for you. For Texas, he's predicting a wide swath of bad weather today. Also across the U.S. in this area, some on the West Coast, and we'll be seeing what's happening here. And the reason I'm bringing this out, and I'll give you some details he gave. He said Iowa has a 5% chance for tornadoes. I submit the tornado chance in these areas may go up today, later today, based on what's coming from the sun. We do have he said, a good chance for hail and wind, especially in Nebraska and other areas, Texas and Oklahoma. So, what we have happening is a similar setup to what we had at the end of March and mid-April with regard to energy coming from the sun that's going to impact Texas weather, U.S. weather, and other things. So we have this from Mike from around the world. We believe he works from the NSA's regularly on Pastor Paul Bigley's Thursday night program, talking about ocean temperatures are up. 19,000 volcanoes underwater have been discovered recently, which is heating up the oceans also. The sun, and this is in a new phase, according to Mike, and it is unpredictable. And we are seeing that. And he's talking about Planet X, or the binary system, something in space impacting Earth. We're going to see new patterns of weather. And we're going to have increased levels of radiation in the sky, like where commercial planes are flying. We could have sudden changes. He's talking about in sun energy coming in. We could have a change in our skies, in the constellations we are seeing. Earth could wobble, and we know in the book of Joel, it talks about the earth wobbling. Okay, and yeah, so we have new over Colombia. We had a volcano erupting, but we have impacts going on along the U.S. West Coast, San Andres, Cascadia, Yellowstone, as well as the new Madrid area. Mount Vesuvius is in Italy. Also some pressure points in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego. Yeah. So we have that going on. Now, what we had recently, we have in Canada, we have fires going on in this area along the west coast and small island, actually. So, in British Columbia, these are the tar sands that have a high level of petroleum. And we're seeing this reflected because Mike from around the world also predicted what the impact would be on the earth, would be our weather. Also, more fires around the earth. We have an electromagnetic shield that's been going down for decades, and it's dramatically weakening, I believe, right now. It's letting in more energy from the sun. I submit it's also contributing to fires we're seeing on the earth. So we had this week a fire in Deer Park, Texas. Here's Houston. Here's Deer Park. It was at a Shell refinery. And we had different things coming out. We had happened on Friday, reignited on Saturday. Just 9 people were exposed to some respiratory smoke, and so they were taken to the hospital, checked out, and released. No deaths. No one had to shelter in place, and that happened on Friday, and also reignited on Saturday. And it involved olefins, which is a form of gasoline, and also naphthalene, which is similar to tar sands in composition. So now we had different reports. The University of Houston has a Houston Public Media. They reported an explosion, but Associated Press said there was no explosion. ABC News simply reported fire erupted. I submit this could have been due to what Mike from around the world said, to look for chemicals changing, and that would lead to spontaneous combustion. I submit we could be seeing that in Deer Park, Texas, and also contributing to the fires in Canada. So that's going on. Now we have this. So we have, in Canada, we have 103 fires burning that are covering 122,000 hectares, or about 301,000 acres. It's been burning since Friday, May 5, and that correlates with that Deer Park, Texas fire of May 5. And 2 areas are burning in South British Columbia and the forest area. The Canadian government has declared a state of wildfire emergency, and so far they are evacuating from this area 45,000 people. Okay, so that's going on. And now we'll get a report from Suspicious Observers. He's a space weather science-based site, talking about CMEs coming in from the sun. So we have the sun. CME is a coronal mass ejection. He's talking about 2 coming in, facing the earth, and also combining. Now, I submit we've seen predictions change. BPEarthwatch also included some information. And I noticed BP is speeding up. So Ben Davidson with Suspicious Observers, Ben is science-based. He would be using the official science-based. And he said, and also another site, Space Weather, said that the CMEs would reach Earth today, May 7, but in the evening, maybe about 5 to 6 p.m. or overnight. BP, and I looked at it, and based on the last 2 episodes we had, which on the first one at the end of March, I looked at, and what was the pattern? The CME came in, and it came in much stronger than was expected in terms of a geomagnetic storm, and it came in much stronger on the KP index, which is related to auroras. And so what did we see with our eyes? We saw unusual auroras coming down to Texas and Florida. And this was also another thing to look for, according to Mike from around the world, to indicate a stronger impact from what's going on in space upon the Earth. Excuse me. So now what we're seeing is BPEarthwatch is now saying this morning to look for it coming in as early as 10 a.m. on the West Coast and about 3 in the afternoon on the East Coast. So we see a speeding up, and I submit that correlates to what I'm seeing with that event at the end of March and mid-April, that these CMEs are going to be hitting the Earth faster than is initially predicted, because the electromagnetic shield around the Earth has dramatically weakened, and we have more impact from space on the Earth. So we'll see the CMEs come in, I believe, earlier than we predict according to our traditional models, and we will see stronger than expected geomagnetic storms, and we will see with our eyes the auroras going down into the lower latitudes. So if we have this aurora coming in this afternoon down to Texas and Oklahoma, excuse me, combining with the current weather conditions we have going on, it's possible that we could see an increase in tornadoes. And we know in mid-April we saw 8 on the ground at one time in Oklahoma. At the end of March, we saw 1 in the mid-U.S. that was an EF5, the strongest tornado size that we calculate. So I'm just saying, it's good to have a heads up and be aware that this afternoon we may have a strong impact on our weather in Texas and across the U.S. We may have geomagnetic impact that impacts satellites and comm units and internet. And the KP index has to do with the auroras that we might be seeing. So that's going on. And now we have this. Yeah. We also had, also in this area of West Coast, we had Clif highs information recently that was combining with some other sources, including Standeo. So we have Canada, we have the West Coast, we have Washington State. We have Clif High said there was a hole in the Pacific Ocean, and the ocean temperature is going up by 9 degrees Fahrenheit. We also had information from Standeo about the ocean temperature increasing. And what I had from God in the fall of 2020 was pay attention to the tectonic plate edges, because magma is rising from within the Earth. And so we're seeing this. We've got this one Defuca plate. We've got the North American plate. We've got the Pacific plate. We have fires going on here and also offshore on a little island. So I submit the prediction by Clif High and by Standeo was in this area an earthquake 9+, and coming up in this time period. So I'm saying it's good to be aware of your circumstances, what is going on, and be ready to pray against these circumstances. So I think it's good to remember. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. God is in charge and He is on the move. I love you and I'll see you soon.